Hello again, 8th grade. It's your favorite math teacher here, Miss U, with today's lesson, which is graphing a linear equation given in any form. All right, so the standard is 8EE6 and 8F4 because we are going to be graphing the equations that are given to us here, but they're kind of looking a little funky, right? So in order to be able to graph an equation, we need to have the equation written in slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. However, every single one of the equations that you're given here is not in that form. All right, and I understand a lot of you are copying this work onto loose leaf paper so you won't have graph paper to graph it afterwards. That's 100% fine. I have put modified directions right up here for what I need you to do instead. So you're going to rewrite the equations in slope-intercept form and simply just identify the slope and the y-intercept once you've done that. I know that if you can identify the slope and y-intercept, you are only one step away from being able to graph that equation. So if you can show me you know how to do this, then I am confident that you will be able to graph it when given graph paper. All right, so I'm going to do more than just the first one for you. So I'll probably just choose 3 random ones to do since they all are a little challenging, but who doesn't love a challenge? All right, so I'll start with number 1 and I'll also do number 4 and I will also do number 8 and then I'll leave the rest to you. All right, so let me read the directions. It says graph each linear equation on the grid provided. Be sure to label the units on the x and y axes. So I'm just going to, well, you know what? Let's see. We'll see how this goes. All right, so the first one, 5x plus 2y equals 10. I want to put this in slope-intercept form, so that means I have to solve for y. So I want to get y by itself, so I'm going to do inverse operations on the x variable. All right, so this is a positive 5x. In order to isolate y, I'm going to subtract it from both sides. And that leaves me with 2y equals, and I can't combine these two because they're different types of terms, so I'm just going to write them next to each other, keeping the signs with each term. So 2y equals negative 5x plus 10. And now my final step to solve for y, I'm going to divide both sides by 2. 2y divided by 2 is y. Negative 5x divided by 2, I'm going to leave that as negative 5 over 2x. And then 10 divided by 2 is 5. So here is my equation in slope-intercept form. And I'm going to identify my slope and my y-intercept. So my slope is negative 5 over 2. The slope is always the term that is with x. And my y-intercept is 5, which I'm going to write as the point 0, 5. Okay? So this is all I want you to do. For those of you who are graphing, you're going to draw yourself a quick x and y axis. I'm not going to number it. My y-intercept is 5, so I'm going to count up to 5, which is here. And now, my slope, my rise over run, that means I'm going to go down 5 and right 2 to get to my next point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. That's my next point. In order for you to see me do that, let me change. All right, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down, 1, 2 to the right, and that's where I plot my next point, and then I do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down, 1, 2 to the right, and I pull out my next point. And then I take my ruler and try my best to connect all the points. Bam. And I write the original equation on the line. And I'm done. Alright, so let's take a look at number 4. Now, remember, it's all the same thing. You really just want to get the y term by itself. So you have to move every other term away from it. So I'm going to rewrite it here. 6x minus 12y plus 24 equals 0. And I want to move everything away from this term. So I'm going to start by subtracting 6x from both sides. It cancels out, and I'll bring down negative 12y plus 24 equals, and this becomes negative 6x. You don't have to write 0 minus 6x, just get rid of the 0. And now, again, trying to move everything away from this term using inverse operations. So I'm going to subtract 24 from both sides. That cancels out, and I'm left with negative 12y equals negative 6x minus 24. And then, and now I have to get the y completely by itself. So I'm going to divide both sides by negative 12. That cancels out, leaves me with a y on the left, and on the right, negative 6 divided by negative 12. A negative divided by a negative is positive. 6 divided by 12 is 1 over 2, or 1/2. So 1/2 x. And then 24, negative 24 divided by negative 12 is positive 2. So 1/2 x plus 2. So identify your slope, identify your y-intercept. Here, our slope is 1/2. Our y-intercept is 2, positive 2. So 1/2, and that would be rise over run for when we graph it. And 0, 2. It's going to be on the y-axis at 2. So draw myself a quick x and y axis label. And now I'm going to start by plotting my y-intercept at 0, 2, which is here. And now I'm going to count 1 up for my rise, 2 right for my run to get to my next point. So I'm going to go up 1, right 2, and that's my next point. I'm going to do it again. Up 1, right 2 for my next point. And I'm going to do it one more time. Up 1, right 2 for my next point. Alright, so I have all the points on the right side that I can get. So what I can do is I can do the exact opposite directions to get all the points on that side. So I'm going to want to go, instead of up 1, down 1, and instead of right 2, left 2. And that gives me my next point. And I'm going to keep doing that same movement until I can't go any further. Until I have all the points that can fit on this coordinate plane for the equation that I'm graphing. There they are. And then take my ruler, which is just a really nifty bam, and label the line with the original equation, which was 6x minus 12y plus 24 equals 0. Alright, again, if you do not have graph paper and if you could not print this out, just do these two steps, rewrite the equation in slope-intercept form, and identify the slope and y-intercept. I'm going to do one more problem, and I'm going to leave the rest to you. So question number 8 says 10x plus 1/3 y equals 30. And remember, we want to get this term by itself. So I'm going to rewrite it on this side. So 10x plus 1/3 y equals 30. And because I want to get the 1/3 y by itself, I'm going to subtract 10x on both sides. That cancels out. This comes down. And this becomes not 20x, not 20, but negative 10x plus 30. And now you can take one of two steps. You can decide to divide both sides by 1/3, which looks extremely messy, or you can decide to multiply both sides by 3, which looks super clean and does the same thing. When you divide by 1/3, you are essentially multiplying by 3. The reason you can do this is because you are really multiplying both sides by the reciprocal of the fraction that is in front of the variable. When you multiply a number by the reciprocal, you get 1. So that would give me 3/3y, which is the same as 1y, which is the same as y. Alright, so multiplying both sides by 3 or by 3/1 in this case would get us to where we needed to go. So I'm left with y equals, distribute this 3 to every term. 3 times negative 10x is negative 30x, and 3 times 30 is 90. So my slope here is negative 30/1, and my y-intercept is 0.90. Alright, so you can get a little creative when graphing this. You're going to want to skip count numbers, make a scale that will fit. Let's see, I'm going to count by 20s. Alright, so 0.90 would be right here. Oh, sorry. That's a little funky thing my thing does. That's 0.90. And now this would mean I'd have to go down 30 and right 1. So that means I want my scale on my x-axis to actually go by 1s. Alright, so if I'm at 90 and I go down 30, that puts me at 60. So that's 10, 20, 30. And over 1 would bring me here. If I'm at 60 and I go down 30, that would bring me to 30. And over 1 would bring me right here. Oh, doing it again. Sorry about that. Can't really control it as well as I want to. And if I'm at 30 and I go down 30, I'm at 0. If I move over 1, I'm right here. Take my ruler to connect those points. and write the original equation on the line. And I'm done. Alright, I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments below, or you can email me. I'll also put my email in the description. Alright, I again hope this was helpful, and I will see you guys later with the next lesson.